Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Divine Decode. I'm your host, Pragya, and today we are diving into one of those stories that just makes you stop and think. You know how life sometimes throws a plot twist, like failing an exam you studied all night for, or losing a job you thought was secure, or even something smaller like moving to a new city where you don't know a single soul. Well, our guest today, Laura, faced a plot twist on an entirely different level, losing her sight as a child. But instead of letting that define her, she built an extraordinary vision for life. She went on to become the first blind graduate at Princeton Theological Seminary and now inspires people all over the world to navigate change with courage, resilience, grit, and yes, gratitude. This is not just a story, it's a masterclass in how we can all face change, whether it's heartbreak, career confusion, or just the everyday ups and downs, and still come out stronger. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for being here on the show.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Such a pleasure that you're here. Okay, Laura, let's start at the beginning. Okay. So, when you first learned that you were losing your sight, what were the emotions that really shaped that early journey? Because, see, I feel like for most of us, when something big it shifts, like it might be an exam result that didn't go our way, or it was a very important person who left us. So the fear, the anger, and the confusion that shows up first. I know it can't be equated or balanced or compared to what loss you have been through. But yeah, was this fear, this anger, this confusion the same for you, or how did you take it?
Yes, it was all the emotions. So, my first reaction when I was losing a significant amount of sight was denial. I completely denied, oh, this is not really happening. It's not going to be permanent. It's not that bad. I was living in that space of denial. Once the denial wore off, it was all the emotions that you just described. It was the intense overwhelm of the present and the future. It was that intense fear of, again, the present and the future. It was just that deep depression and the deep, deep panic attacks, the anxiety that manifested in panic attacks. So it was all those emotions at one time.
I get it. Yeah, that must be, hard for you, and the courage that you've shown. And I'm sure it didn't come in a night. It was a whole day process. Thank you for sharing that with us. Also, looking back, which shaped you more, those raw, fearful moments, or the resilience that came after it? What shaped you as a person?
So, what helped me build the resilience and get to this place of resilience and living with courage and living with grit and gratitude was the support around me. So, as I am saying, I can't do this is too overwhelming, living in panic attacks and depression, it just, I can't handle it all, I can't process it. As I'm in that difficult emotional place, the gift was and the resiliency came from the support around me. So it was the family that still believed in me, even when I didn't know how I would move forward. It was the teachers at school that made accommodations so that I could complete school like all the other students. It was my friends who just continued to treat me like their friends. And they just knew I couldn't see as well, but it wasn't, our friendship didn't change. So it was the gift of the support around me. And one practical example of what I mean by the support around me was every day as I'm overwhelmed with the present and the future, my parents would tell me, no, we don't know how it's all going to work out. all we have to do is take it day by day by day. So, them teaching that to me and modeling that, that's what helped build my resilience from a place of anxiety and depression to a resilience. I can grieve and then move forward.
That is so, so powerful and so inspiring, honestly. I love that. And when we talk about change, it is such a weird thing, right? At first, it feels like loss, like when a door slams shut in your face. But later, sometimes it feels like a blessing in disguise, like when one rejection, it leads you to something better. So for you, how did you personally shift from resisting change to embracing it? And or um was it a whole different process that you followed?
So, that is a great question that it took me years and years to work through. So, resisting the change actually made me more anxious, more depressed, more overwhelmed, more fearful. When I finally and slowly, there wasn't one big moment, but over time, when I finally got to that place of accepting this is my new normal, this is who I am now, this is the way it is going to be, that helped the depression decrease. The panic attacks were not as strong. So when I could be in that place of just accepting my new normal, accepting this is what it is. Yes, I don't like it. Yes, I don't like the change. I wouldn't choose the change. I wouldn't ask for the change or wish the change on anyone else. Yet it's happened and I can't control that. But what I can control is my resistance to it. So being able to be in that place of acceptance, it just is what it is. That helped me so much move to that place of building that resilient spirit just day by day by day.
That is again uh see, I personally believe it's a process and nothing can change like in a night or something. It actually requires so much time, and we can't just say that it will take a year or something. It takes sometimes it takes decades, and sometimes it's a 1 month thing, right?
Yes. Yes, that was exactly my experience. It's not, and that's why I said just a few minutes ago, it wasn't one major process. It is definitely exactly what you said, just a daily, weekly, month, decade life process of accepting our new normal and living into that.
I get that. I get that. Also, you talk about grit and gratitude as the main keys that handle transitions, right? So, yeah, I agree to it, and I basically love that thought because grit. It sometimes feels like those what should I say? A pull and all nighter, push through kind of moments, while gratitude, it feels more like pausing, taking a deep breath and being thankful for even smallest things, that today my hairs, they were good, today I didn't feel sleepy in my classes. All of these things, these small things, these are also gratitude, right? So how do grit and gratitude actually work together in tough times, and how and when you are in the thick of a challenge, what do you reach for first? Is it grit that you reach for first, or it is, or is it gratitude that you do first?
So, to answer the question of how do grit and gratitude work together, that is exactly what I found in my everyday lived experience of the grit of, again, what I learned in those first years of losing so much sight, having the grit to take it moment by moment by moment of acknowledging, yes, this is hard and I choose to move forward. So it's doing both at the same time, acknowledging the difficulty, acknowledging that it's painful, acknowledging the grief process, and then choosing to move forward for that moment. So that's the grit part. And the gratitude is exactly how you described. taking that moment to pause and be grateful for what helps us move through the change. So, in my speaking, in my coaching, working with people individually, what I always talk about and want to be very clear on, it's not being grateful for the change. It's not being grateful for the difficulty. Rather, it's noticing and being grateful for what helps us move through the difficulty, through the change, so we can have that grit, so we can keep going when it's really hard. That is a brilliant question. I'm so glad you asked that about in times of difficulty, which do I choose? The answer is it completely depends on where my state of mind is. And the reason I say that is because sometimes I just need to acknowledge this is really, really hard and I need to keep going. In those moments where I just feel like I don't want to keep going, I acknowledge that and then have to choose the grit to keep going, even though it's really, really hard. And then the gratitude, I need to choose that when I'm in a difficult mindset, a difficult place of just going forward, going forward. And then I just need to pause and remember I'm really grateful for the guide dog that helps me navigate the world. I'm really thankful for technology that makes life easier as I'm in a sighted world as a person without sight. So again, to answer that question of when we need grit, when we need gratitude, it depends on our mindset in that difficulty.
That's beautiful, basically. And I truly agree to what you've said because, yeah, life is subjective. You cannot just answer it by, keeping two options and choosing one. So
Yes.
rightly said. And most people, they see limitations as roadblocks. Sometimes even I do that, right? So I do not. Uh, a lot of people, they what their process is that I don't have enough money, so I don't have the right background. I don't know the right people, so I won't start this. Or I won't start speaking out, or I'll not work on myself because I do not have all of these things at this moment. But you've turned blindness into a platform for leadership and inspiration. And that is so fascinating. So how did you reframe it like that? Or do you think that so-called limitations, they actually pushes us and they basically pushed you into deeper creativity and problem solving and standing up for yourself? So yeah, what is your take on limitations?
Again, I'm so glad you asked that question. That is such a great perspective because we have a choice. Do we have the perspective of limitation or do we have the perspective of it is what it is? So, what am I going to do about what I can control? And what I can control is my mindset. So rather than looking at blindness as it's a limitation, again, acknowledging, yes, it is in the fact that I can't see in a sighted world. Yet, what is not a limitation is my mindset. What I can control is how I respond to it. So rather than living in the mindset of limitation, choosing to say, all right, what I can control is my emotions and my attitude and my reaction to blindness. And then the other perspective that I've developed and that I've realized is yes, blindness is absolutely limiting. And I have had incredible support to help me move forward. So I want to be that support in this world to so many of us as we perceive so many limitations, just like you were giving an example of money. There's endless limitations that we all experience. So it comes from the two perspectives of controlling what I can control, and that's my mindset, and then also drawing from that support that I've received to move me forward.
Mhm. So beautifully you conveyed it. And yeah, that makes me wonder if the things that we call weaknesses or our limitations. They are,
100%.
yeah, they're actually the exact things that unlock those new strengths in us. And not to bash it or anything, but yeah, that is actually the most important thing, you know, knowing your weaknesses, having limitations. Yeah, they push us. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing that with us, Laura. Also, through your work with UPI Global or UB Global, you've helped people navigate change with more grace, right? So, if someone who is listening right now who is stuck, maybe they feel lost about their career or is overwhelmed by family pressure or is just, burnt out by daily life. Even see, at this point, I've also started my college right now, like in it's been 2 weeks, so I am also a bit burnt out by my daily life. So what is that one mindset shift that you would love to give to us, or a practice that can help us, take back, sit back, and yeah, have a bit of control? What do you have to say?
So my first, I want to give. I know you said one, but I want to. Can I give two? So my first advice would be, and let's take your situation specifically. Acknowledge the burnout. Give yourself the space to acknowledge, I'm feeling burned out. I'm feeling exhausted. I'm feeling tired. Whatever the emotion is, give yourself space to feel the emotion. And the reason I say that is what I found in my own life and then working with so many other people is that we instantly jump to how do we fix it? And we miss the step of just taking the moment to acknowledge I'm burned out and I need to do something different. Just acknowledging and making our feelings validated. The next step, when you acknowledge, okay, I'm burned out and that's leading to exhaustion and frustration, the next the next step would be, what is one small action I can take today to move me forward? So, again, I say that because, again, with myself and with so many others, we instantly think, how do I change this completely? How do I go from burnout to absolutely no burnout? That's not going to happen in a day. But what is going to happen is you taking control to move one step forward to that one action item. So for you, maybe it's sitting down and looking at your schedule and thinking about, okay, what can I take off my plate today? What is something I don't have to get done today so that I'm not so burned out? Or how can I change my schedule so that I get more rest? So, again, the goal is not to go from burnout to no burnout. The goal is, what is one small step, one small action I can do today to move me towards the big goal of no burnout?
Mm, that is such an incredible advice, and thank you. I've taken a note of it. That was such a practical wisdom that you gave, and it's it's given that it makes change feels like less like a mountain when you have to
Right.
climb, and more like one step that we can actually take today.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes.
And what an incredible journey, Laura, that you have. And listeners, she has shared with us today her story, which proves something that we all need to remember, right? That change, it does not have to break us, it can always shape us if we choose it differently and if we see it differently. So whether you're going through an exam stress or a heartbreak, or switching between careers, or something that you really really hate about yourself, or yeah, you're dealing with something, then listen to Laura, okay? Take those advices. Here's my challenge for you. Think about one change in your life right now that feels scary or uncomfortable, right? And instead of resisting it, what if you lean into it? How about leaning into it? Could it actually be the doorways to something bigger? Think about that. I'm your host, Pragya, and this has been Divine Decode. Until next time, face your changes with courage, carry your grit, hold on to gratitude and remember that you are stronger than you think.